have been on a major kick lately of getting all of my works in progress done. And this is kind of abnormal for me. I usually love a good new cast on, and I kind of tend to abandon projects, at least for like a good chunk of time before I finish them. But lately, all I've wanted to do, barring like a few sock projects that I've cast on to, all I've wanted to do is like finish those works in progress and get through them and make progress on them and get them done and out of the way. So what we're going to do today is go through this giant basket of whips and decide if we are going to frog each of them, finish each of them, or put them into this third category, which I'm currently calling forget, which is basically like I'm gonna leave them on the needles or leave them archived, however you wanna say it. I'm not gonna frog them, but I'm not going to finish them right now. They're gonna go into like a pile of things that I either like am emotionally not ready to frog or finish, or like I know I want to get them done, but they are not a priority to get done now. So we're gonna go through this basket and see what we got here. I am kind of out of project bags. So some of the things are loose in here, as you can see, because I've just ran out of project bags. So I've been kind of stealing project bags from here. But we're gonna go through it. There is no particular order here. I think everything is in here. The whips you are not going to see in this video are the ones that I am actively working on because I don't need to make decisions about whether I'm gonna frog them or finish them. Everything in here is stuff that we haven't really touched on or I haven't seen in at least a month. And some of these are really old, but at least a month. So let's just pull out and get started. So you have probably seen these. I'm obviously gonna finish this. This is a sweater for my niece. I just need to finish the right arm. That won't take me very long. I just not in a hurry to get it done because she doesn't need it until winter. And I don't even know, the sleeves might be too short for her because she's growing fast. But if this doesn't work for her, I will give it to somebody else. I'm not really too worried about it, but not in a hurry for that, but that is one that I would like to finish probably before I go back to school. And so maybe that's the cutoff for like finishing versus forgetting is, can I get it done in a month? If I can't get it done by the end of a month, then I am just gonna forget about it for now and we'll address it later. So this is gonna go in the finish pile, which I think I'm gonna throw right in front of me. I don't think you can see that, but okay, next is this project that is just floating around in here. So I got really into mosaic knitting. I even bought a book back here somewhere about mosaic knitting. And there's this pattern in the book. And actually, let me see if I can find it. So the book is the Mosaic Knitting Workbook by Ashley Wimp. So this is what that looks like. And I may be pronouncing her name wrong. And the one I'm currently working on is technically a rug. She's got it classified as a rug in here. And this is what that looks like. She's calling it the Berry Bramble Floor Mat. But what I'm thinking about doing is turning it into a wall hanging for my office. And so I had originally kind of planned on frogging this just because I don't really want it as a rug. I don't need it as a rug. I don't have a use for it as a rug. But then I realized I could hang it on my wall in my new office just as like a little bit of pizzazz. I've been wanting to add some like knitting related thing into my office, so I think this would work out nicely. So let me get a little closer so maybe you can see that a little better. Haven't got very far. It is mosaic knitting, so it's pretty easy. For the base color, I am using Fisherman's Wool in Natural. This is the undyed one. And then I've got Eddie Bauer Woolpaca worsted weight in the colorway Evergreen. So that's the other color that I'm using. In the pattern, she's got multiple different colors. I considered maybe using like a different color of Fisherman's Wool. So like I think there's like an oat color or a brown color or a brown heather color. But I kind of like the idea of just making it green and off-white. And so I think that's what I'm going to do. Originally, like I said, I was going to frog this because I was like, I have no reason for it. But now that I kind of want it, I got a new office, I kind of want it in my new office, I'm going to try to finish this by the time I go back to school, so it'll be in my office when school starts. So this is going straight in front of me in finish. All right, next. Oh yeah, I'm gonna finish this. This is something I actually have touched. I just put it down recently. This is for my boss who is about to have her first grandbaby if she hasn't already. Like, baby was due yesterday. So I haven't heard the update, but I do know that progress is being made. But I'm making this for her. Again, she doesn't need it until winter, so I'm just gonna hopefully have this done by the time school starts again. This sweater, the sweater you saw first, the purple sweater, and I believe there's another sweater somewhere in here. Not that one. I'll find it. There's another baby sweater here, and they're all the Monday Junior sweater by Petite Knit. I really like that pattern. It's the first Petite Knit pattern I ever used, but it's a really nice, simple, straightforward raglan sweater in sizes from like one-year-old up to, I don't know, I can't even remember, but there's it's quite a large size range for children. And then I'm assuming when you get into adult sizes, you'll need to purchase the like Monday sweater, the original size. All right, what's next? So in this bag, and maybe I should tell you a little bit about my project bags while we're at it. This bag, if you know of Girlfriend Collective, they, not sponsored any of this, by the way. Girlfriend Collective sells like leggings and workout gear and sports bras and stuff like that, and a lot of other things made out of recycled plastic. And they used to send all of their leggings and bras in these bags. And so I have quite a few of these bags lying around, and I use them for a lot of things. I don't believe Girlfriend Collective sends out the leggings in these bags anymore, but since I have them, I use them. This one has a bunch of bees on it. I got it from It's All About Bees in Omaha, somewhere in Omaha, where they have local honey, really good honey. So I bought their bag, and there's another bag somewhere around here that's from them. This bag I got on a girls' trip with my friend Audra. Hi Audra, if you're watching this. And I just really liked it, so I bought it. Yeah, nothing special about that other than it is a memory. And then this is that other Monday Junior sweater. This is for my nephew Owen. So again, this also doesn't need to be done by winter. Also, I don't know if babies even like wearing sweaters. They probably don't. But, you know, when it's chilly out, they may need a little something. So that'll be for him. Also would like to get that done by the time I go back to school. Okay, so this one might be the first frog. This bag my sister made me and gave me for Christmas. She sewed it. It's super cute. I want her to make me another one. But what I have here is some socks. Now, if you've been on the channel for a little while, you've probably heard me talk about these socks. These are the socks that convinced me that I didn't like knitting socks, even though that was not true. So my issue with these socks, they are knitted with, it's Peyton's Croy. It's the wrong tag. I don't think the tag's in here. I want to say it's like mid-century stripes, but the yarn itself is really beautiful. My gripe with this is I used a different pattern than I normally do. The pattern is super well written. I believe it's the Sock Exploration Shadow Wrap Heel. However, what I didn't take into account was my gauge. I knit really tightly, so then when you add in teeny tiny size 1 knitting needles, you get this like super dense fabric, which maybe this is what you're supposed to have when you knit socks, this like super dense thick fabric. However, I just don't enjoy knitting them because it's so tight. I feel like it's really hard on my hands. So I have been debating finishing these, but just sizing up a needle size, like go to 1.5 instead of a 1, or just frogging them and restarting. Probably still using the Sock Exploration Shadow Wrap heel pattern, but sizing up a needle size for the whole thing to accommodate my very tight gauge. So I don't know. I still don't know about these. I kind of want to finish them because they're so cute, but I also know that I could just frog them. Well, let me just knit a row. I'm just going to knit a row. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to knit a row, and that'll tell me if it's as bad as I remember. I'm also using these stitch markers that have numbers on them to tell me what round I'm on, because I'm knitting 2 at a time on separate needles. And so basically I do 10 rows on one sock and then I switch to the other. So this one has 0 on it, which tells me I'm done with my 10 rows. This one has a 2, which means I've only finished 2 rows of that 10. And this is just to help me keep the socks even. So now let me just do a row. Okay, while it was definitely not as pleasant a knitting experience as my other socks that I'm knitting on like 1.5 needles, it really wasn't as bad as I remember. And it's really not that much different than the other. So I think I'm just going to plow through. I think I'm going to give myself until I go back to school. And I start work again officially on August 18th, and then semester starts on August 26th. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give myself until August 18th. If I have not found the motivation or the interest in finishing these socks by August 18th, I will frog them and restart, or frog them and then save them for later. But if that way, that gives me a month to decide if I want to actually finish these, or at least to like try to knit a little bit more. And then if they don't get done by then, that'll be my sign that I just need to frog them, because I do enjoy knitting socks. And it's kind of a bummer that I've started these way back in March and I still don't have them done. These were technically my March socks back when I thought I could knit 12 socks in a year. I am up to 3 though. So that, if you want to see my most recent pair of socks, that'll be on the podcast on Saturday. However, I think it's only 2 for 2025 because I knitted the first pair in 2024. But whatever, we're making progress. But again, this is gonna go in the finish pile. So far I haven't had any to frog, but the farther we get into here, the older the projects get. So let's take a look at what's in this bag. Another Girlfriend Collective bag. Oh, yeah, I haven't worked on this in the last several weeks, but this is absolutely getting finished. This is my cotton candy sweater inspired by the lovely Breathing Yarn. She has a sweater that has the Polaroid like stripes where I have this little rainbow, and she 100% inspired this sweater. I am knitting this with, I don't have the labels anymore, but it's a knit and crochet cloud packa, I believe is what it's called, with 1 row of drops air in there. That's the yellow. But this I'm going to finish. I want this done. The only reason I haven't finished this one yet or prioritized this one yet is because there's a couple of t-shirt projects I kind of want to finish before this. I also wanted to get my gray sweater done before I dove too deeply into that. So this is not, I won't have this done by, okay, maybe I'm gonna make a 3rd pile or a 4th pile. So we've got frog, we've got finish by August 18th, finish after August 18th, and then forget, which means like I don't want to work on it at all. I just want this done by the time it's cold. So I'm gonna throw it over there. So that one's definitely a finish. And then we've got this bag that sheets came in at one point in time. Oh, I forgot about these socks. Okay, so I actually got quite a ways on these. So I started knitting, I think these are the same thing as my other socks. So these are the One Sock by Kate Atherley, but I am, oh, or maybe not. Maybe this is a worsted weight pattern. I don't know. I'm using Aran Weight Peyton's Evermore and knitting a pair of socks with it. But I think this, I'm having the same issue with these that I had with the others. The fabric is just so dense. It's kind of an uncomfortable knitting experience. So I'm gonna knit, and I'm only knitting one at a time because I only had one set of this needle size. So what I'm gonna do is I am going to knit just like before. I'm gonna knit another row because I'm already almost all the way through this foot, though I see I've got a hole where I did the short rows. But I'm gonna knit another row and see if it's awful or if I wanna just finish this and then make the other sock. Next test is putting it on my foot to see if I can actually get it on my foot. Okay, I got it on, but that is a tight sock. I don't know how, let's see. It's 10% polyester, 90% recycled wool. It does feel pretty comfy on, but I do think, unless it's gonna block out, you can't see this, but that's what it looks like. It's on, but it's kind of tight. And the cuff is kind of loose. I think I'm gonna frog it. I think I'm gonna frog it and do either a size bigger or size up a needle size. And I'm leaning towards sizing up a needle size. I'm using a 3, which is a 3, which is a 3.25 millimeter needle. So I could go up to a 4 and use the same size, and I think it would be perfect. So I'm gonna frog this. So this is gonna go in the frog pile, which I'm going to throw frog right here. So far we haven't had any forgets. This bag, which I got at a yard sale, is currently holding a crochet project. This is what I have so far of a bag. I'm gonna finish it, but this is gonna be my first forget. Sometimes when I need a break from knitting, which only happens every once in a while, but I still want to do something with yarn, I pick this up. But that's why it hasn't gotten very far, because I rarely have those feelings. But I am enjoying this project. I do enjoy crochet, just not as much as I enjoy knitting. So this guy is going to go into the forget for now pile, which means it gets to live in the bottom of this giant basket. So that's going to be, so we've got finish soon, finish later, forget, and frog. Okay, ooh, better keep my crochet hook with that, otherwise I'll never know what size of crochet hook I used. Okay, next. I believe I also got this bag either at Goodwill or at a yard sale. It says gorgeous on it. Oh, I forgot about this. Oops. Okay, so this was a t-shirt, or is a t-shirt, is going to be a t-shirt. Slightly improvised, slightly following a Stephen West pattern. It is on fingering weight yarn, which is why it is still in the state that it's in. I originally wanted to have this done by the time it got warm out, but as you can see, it is now July. We are solidly halfway through July, and I still haven't finished it yet, but that's okay. This is going to be a finish, though I'm gonna say a finish later. Not a completely forget, but a finish later. Because I really like it. I really want it. I think it's gonna be a super comfortable tee. I may cast on and I may pick up stitches and do a collar on it, or I may leave it rolled like that, depending on how I feel. But I'm not in a hurry to get this done now because it's gonna take a while. It's gonna take a while. This is knit and crochet, but it's a hand dyed. This is my gauge swatch for it. I think it's like unicorn something or other. So this is my unicorn tee that's going in, finish later. All right, what's next? Okay, yeah, we're getting closer. All right, this is a sweater that I need to frog. This is my step-by-step sweater by Florence Miller. I love this pattern. I've heard a lot of good things about this pattern from other people who have knit it. I have a friend who is about done or has finished knitting this sweater. She loves it. I like the pattern. Florence Miller is a beautiful pattern writer, and a lot of her patterns are free with YouTube tutorials, which is amazing. However, I made mistakes in this sweater. For one, fisherman's wool is very toothy or like scratchy. It's very hardy wool, which makes it hard to wear close to skin. You may be able to tell with me just like holding it up in front of me that I have made this a close to skin garment that while it may block out a little bit, I don't think it's ever going to be loose enough to wear it the way I want to wear it, which is on top of layers in the winter. So as much as it pains me to take out and like block, or excuse me, to frog this beautiful sweater, I think I'm going to, with the goal or with the intention of re-knitting it in a much larger size, because I still want the sweater. I think this color is beautiful. Incidentally, this is the same color as my dog. So whenever I see it, I always think of Theo. So I would love to have this sweater done. I really like the fabric that it makes. It's just a little bit scratchier than what I want right up against my skin. So if I make it loose enough that I can fit a long sleeve shirt underneath it, I can wear it when I go out to the barn or just when it's like really, really frigid out. So I want this, but it needs to be frogged. So we're gonna frog it, and I'm gonna frog everything, including the neckline, because the neckline is also pretty tight. And I have realized that I am more of a folded over neckline kind of girl, or a short, non-folded over neckline. And this is not what I want. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna reknit it in a larger size, and I'm gonna fold that neckline over. But this needs to be frogged. And I'm knitting in this with Lion Brand's Fisherman's Wool in the color Brown Heather. I think I have a ball here. Yeah, Brown Heather. That's what that looks like. And I have plenty of this. I have a ton of this. So I would like to turn this into a sweater, but adjustments need to be made first, and that starts with frogging it. All right, what's next? Okay. So if you watched I think this was my failed Christmas knits video, or like when I was talking about gift knitting, I made this headband for my sister, but was never able to properly bind it off. I could not figure out Kitchener stitch for the life of me, and it kept breaking no matter what I did. I did have some lovely people comment and give me some advice, like maybe be a little looser with my tension. It is not, you're not sewing it together, you're just adding to the stitches, which I imagine would be really helpful. But frankly, by the time I got to that point, I was just done. So I have this here. It could be finished. It's so close to being finished. I'll tell you what. Let's see, it might be too tight actually. Oh no, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna give it one more shot. This is gonna be a finish. I'm gonna give it one more shot. If I don't have it done by August 18th, it'll be a frog. All right, and then I have a whole bunch of things in here. So, excuse me. The first that I want to address is this. This is actually the same thing as this, just with a softer yarn. And it's a really pretty like rainbow yarn. I don't know where I got it or what kind it is. The other is all fisherman's wool. But I never finished it because of that problem. It would be nice to finish it. I'm gonna throw this in with that as finish by August 18th or get rid of. And then we've got a ton of fingerless gloves or mittens that I have. They're done except for the thumbs. They just need the thumbs attached. All of these just need the thumbs attached. So we've got, let's see, one pair of green, one pair of whatever color you want to call that, one pair of tan, one green that I apparently haven't made the pair for. So this is a short green as opposed to a long green. And then I also have shoved in here 2 mittens that are still on the needles that are pink. This is all Eddie Bauer Woolpaca except for this. This is an acrylic something or other, maybe Landscapes Breeze. And I just need to, like, this won't take very long. These are all Fire Pit Mitts by Taylor Earl. I really like this pattern, but I get bored with it just because it's very simple, and I like a good challenge. So yeah, I just need to finish these. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and a half. I don't know why I'm saying half. There's 5 here that need gloves that need to be finished. And I kind of wish you could see the ground in front of me, but I did not set the frame up that way. So I need to finish all of these. Yeah. So that's on the to-do agenda. Again, this is going to be a finish, and I have a ton of people that I want to give these to, preferably before it gets really cold out. So I just need to finish these before August 18th. I have a lot to do. So this is all going to go unfinished by August 18th. These I won't frog because I can finish them later. So the goal is to finish them by August 18th. But if a few of them don't make it, I'll just put them in the finish later pile. All right, we're now down to the last 2 projects in here, and then I've got one floating over there, which I will grab. But let's see what this is first. I have a hunch that this is hats that I was supposed to make for my family. Yeah. So for Christmas, this is another Christmas gift knit fail. I had this big plan to make my family hats, like so. But I'm knitting with chunky wool and chunky needles. I don't know. It's not my favorite thing. This one is for my dad. These are both wool ease. This one is barley. And I haven't got very far, but it really wouldn't take me more than a couple hours to finish. I feel like I need to be more ruthless here, but I think I do want to give this to him. And then this is my brother-in-law's hat. Looks very hat-like right now. I don't know what colorway this is, but it reminds me of like an oil slick. It's got like overall black with blue, red, and yellow or gold throughout. So it's really pretty, but I just need to do something with it. So again, this is going to be finish, but I think this is going to be finished later. I think these will be finished later. Maybe I'll give them to them for Christmas this year, even though they were supposed to be given to them for Christmas last year. But you know, I tell my family, you get it eventually. No promises of when. So that'll be finished later. And then finally the project, well, not the last project, but the project that kind of sparked all of this. And this is the one that I'm really struggling with what I want to do with it. So we have this sweater. This is the pattern, and I will put the official title and link the video below, but this is a pattern or like a video tutorial teaching you how to do a raglan sweater. And this is Aspen from Made in the Moment. So Aspen from Made in the Moment put out this pattern. It is supposed to be a long sleeve sweater, follow along kind of thing, where they tell you exactly how to math what you need to cast on and how to do your raglan increases and all of that fun stuff. And so I knitted this sweater. This is the first sweater that I ever started back in either January or February of not 2025, but 2024. So this is one of the first things that I really started knitting. And I knitted it with acrylic yarn that I had found at the thrift store using some cheap wooden needles that I found at a craft store. However, there are some things wrong with this sweater, and it has nothing to do with the pattern itself. It's the modifications that I made. I decided I wanted a short sleeve sweater, so I did some wonky things here to like make the sleeves less like flare out, and I ended up making the armpits super bulky. I've also got some huge gaps and weirdness happening in the armpits, and I also learned something about myself, and that is I'm not a big fan of acrylic. So I have this sweater that's almost done, or this t-shirt I should say, that's almost done. And to fix it, or to finish it, I would just need to bind off the bottom, rip back the sleeves, and fix my like sleeve errors, and it would be done. However, I don't actually foresee myself finishing this sweater, or even wearing this sweater if I did finish it. Do I like the colors? Yes. Do I think it's cute? Yes. Am I gonna finish it? No. And even if I did, I probably wouldn't wear it. I do love the color. I do love how bright it is. But if we're being real, I'm probably not gonna wear it. So I'm going to frog this. Before I do, I will try all these things on just to make sure that that's really what I wanna do. But right now it's going in the frog pile, which makes me kind of sad because it is the first sweater that I started on, but there's really no point in me keeping that sweater and then not actually doing anything with it. So this is going into the frog pile. I'm gonna grab my last whip that hasn't been touched in a while, and that is my blanket. So I started this in early 2024 when I first started knitting. I'm using Bernat Forever Fleece Tweed in the colorway Bark Tweed. And I am making this, it's just garter stitch, so I'm just knitting the whole time. And I'm just making this lap blanket. I bought a bunch of that yarn. It will just go, I'll knit it as long as I have yarn for it. And this is a finish later. I'm not gonna frog this. I'm really excited to have this blanket. I really like how thick it is, and it's so soft. It is 100% polyester, but I seem to do better with polyester than I do with acrylic in terms of like a sensory thing. I almost feel like acrylic, and it depends on the acrylic, but it's almost like acrylic kind of sticks to my fingers, and it's kind of squeaky, which I'm not a big fan of, where polyester seems to be just soft, or at least like of the acrylic versus polyester products I have here, this is really, really soft. Though I prefer not to make garments out of non-natural fibers. I sweat a lot, and non-natural fibers tend to enhance that. Unlike wool that kind of absorbs it, these don't. But I haven't made much progress on this since the last time I showed it on the channel, which I have no idea when that was. Probably March or April. But I'm okay with that. That's not the point. I do eventually want this blanket, but I'm okay if it takes me 10 years to finish it. It's the project that got me into like really into knitting, and like I will always have that, and I have no qualms about keeping this around for many more years before I finish it. I have all the yarn that I need for it, and it doesn't take up, I mean, it takes up this much room, but I just stick it underneath a side table I have over there, and that's where it lives. And then when I get the inkling to do something with it, I just pull it out. I do 1 or 2 rows, and then I put it away again. So that's gonna be finished, but that is finished later. And that's it. I've actually made quite a bit of progress on the projects I've wanted to do, or on the projects that I've had just like sitting in purgatory. So it's nice to go through these, kind of get an idea of what I have left to get through before I have all my whips done. Though it's not a goal to have all my whips done. Like I'm okay not having every single work in progress ever finished before I start more projects, but I do want to get some of these that are older, that I have kind of more of a time not a time crunch, but I want them done by like a certain date. I want to get those cranked out. So now what I'm going to do is I am going to try on the two sweaters that I'm planning on frogging. I already tried on the socks and I'm convinced I'm frogging those. I have 3 projects that I am finishing in the future with no date in sight. 2 projects that I want to do this fall after school starts. And then let's see. I'm going to do all the gloves as one project just because the process is pretty much the same for all of them. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then I have 7 projects that I want to finish in a month. I don't know that I'll get through all of them, but a lot of these are, if I don't finish them, then I'm frogging them. And that's that. All right, so I'm going to try those on and we'll see what we decide. Yeah, even if I fixed, it's cute and it's actually pretty comfy, but even if I fixed the armpits, like I fixed the way that I did decreases here, basically I just decreased in one spot instead of all the way around. If I fixed that, I still don't think I would wear it. I don't wear a lot of this color. I don't like the way the neckline sits. Yeah, this was my first sweater, so it makes sense that it isn't perfect, that it doesn't fit right. And I also didn't follow the pattern instructions. So sorry, Aspen, it's my bad. But yeah, this is going to get frogged for sure. So I know I said I was going to frog this, but I think I'm going to block it first. I want to see how this, because right now I think I could handle everything else except for the neckline. So I want to see if the neck blocks out any, if it relaxes a bit, because there's enough ease in the body and I think there's enough ease in the armpits that if I were to, like if the neckline relaxes, I think I can knit the rest of this in this size and still wear clothes underneath it. Like it's pretty roomy. It's roomier than I remember it being. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to block it and then potentially keep it to finish later. But I'm going to block it tonight and maybe I'll be able to update you before this video is over. But if not, I will update you in a future video. So keep a lookout for that. Thank you for watching. I am going to let you go, but if you liked this video, please consider giving it a like. If you want to hang out more, please think about subscribing. Have a wonderful evening, and I will hopefully see you in the next video. Bye!